Yo, what is going on, guys? Matthew V. Haynes here, aka the Clockmaster. Right now, we're going to be reviewing Season 2 of Outlander. So, those of you who are new to the channel, I used to do Outlander reactions before Starz and Tour started blocking them and giving YouTubers copyright strikes, so I kind of stopped doing that, and then I did a Season 1 review. I stopped watching Outlander for a little bit, like, not even for a little bit, for like nearly a year, and then I started rewatching it, well, not rewatching it, continuing from Season 2, where I was, and now I'm on Season 3, and I only, I thought it only made sense to do a review of Season 2 since I did a review of Season 1 last year, so I just figured it just makes sense for me to do a review of Season 2. Which brings me to this. I was talking to someone who watched the Outlander reactions, and a close friend of mine who also watched through Outlander reactions prior to that, and their idea was putting my reactions to Season 3 up on Patreon, my full reactions up on Patreon. I didn't think that was something I was trying to do or whatever, but if you guys think that's a good idea and you want to see my reactions on Patreon, it's something I can definitely think about. Let me know in the comment section down below if it's something that you would like to see from me to do Season 3 reactions and possibly Season 4. If not Season 3, definitely Season 4 on Patreon. So just let me know if that's something that you want on there, if you would become a patron for that, or you can just click the poll up there, you can vote on that. Just let me know. Also, MVH merch, finally YouTube gave me the feature to put my merch like right underneath the video, so I kind of feel special now. So if you guys are interested, definitely check it out. It's like right below the video. Anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about Outlander Season 2. That intro took way too long. Where do I even begin with Outlander Season 2? No notes again, nothing like that. I'm literally just speaking off of what I remember, man. If anything annoyed me so much in this season was Black Jack Randall. Black Jack Randall annoyed me. The thought of him, the presence, his presence, everything was annoying. But we're gonna start from the, I guess, the French section of everything when they first arrived in France. The very first episode really it tricked me up because I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, did Claire actually really end back up in her the end back up in the future? Like, what happened to that? And it started to confuse me. And as we watched, it took, did a little flashback to when she was back in the 18th century, and it I don't know, it confused the mess out of it. And then going into France and doing all the France stuff, it was cool seeing a different location for a little bit, leaving Scotland. We were in Scotland for the very first season, and then moving over to France. And then we got to see some of Jamie's cousin. He pretty much allowed him to live in one of his houses for the first half of that season, which is really cool because you got to see him, Jamie, do some business things, Claire, and then everyone respect them as Lord Brock Turok. That was a horrible accent, but respect them as Lord and Lady Brock Turok. So that was pretty cool to see them get that respect of being from a Scottish clan, and seeing some of the ins and outs of the Jacobite rebellion. Somebody who I actually thought was extremely funny, as much as I hated this character throughout the Season 2, was the Duke of Sandringham. Like, every time I saw the Duke of Sandringham, I just started laughing because it's like, and I'll get later on to like when they actually, well, I might even get later on, but like when Claire and the Duke actually reunited back again in Scotland, I was like, it was just funny to me. But seeing the Duke, them exploring a lot of things. I mean, a lot of French episodes were pretty much useless, really, as far as certain things, but it did give us the introduction to Charles Stuart, so which is also a very important figure, not just in history but in this season of Outlander. Very important character. So we got an introduction to Charles Stuart. And then, and one thing that I always love, Charles Stuart, mock me. Every time he said, mock me. every time he said, mark me, I started laughing. Hold up, there's a spider on my light. I gotta kill it real quick, hold up. Anyway, so Charles Stuart, every time he said, mark me, was super funny. So, I mean, yeah, so all the French stuff was definitely interesting, trying to see them trying to stop the rebellion, but then it became useless because at the end of the day, the rebellion still ended up happening anyway, and all that work with them trying to prevent the rebellion, trying to prevent this from happening, the Battle of Culloden Moor, all of that was just useless because it still happened anyway. So I felt like if we wasted so much time of them just trying to like stop something that was going to happen anyway. Like either way it was going to happen. I'm jumping all over the place. One thing that really upset me, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Dougal Mackenzie, it kind of sucked to see that he had to be killed off like that. If he died like fighting, like I wouldn't have been so upset, like how Angus died while fighting. But Jamie had to kill him because he overheard their plans, so that kind of was a downer. Just to see Dougal Mackenzie. I mean, he was funny and he was cool. He had his moments. I would say Dougal Mackenzie definitely had his moments that were fun and were, you know, cool and cheesy. But then he wasn't the greatest of a person. But it kind of just sucked, man. It kind of just sucked to see him die like that. But you definitely got to grow more with the characters in this season, especially Claire and Jamie. As time went on, Claire started to become more I liked Claire since season 1, to be honest, but she just started to get more adjusted to the way of life. Because remember, the first time she came down, you know, Claire is like a person that doesn't take anything from anybody. So coming from a different time period, you know, Jamie had to tell her, like back in season 1, like, you know, certain things, like you can't go and say this in front of people, in front of me, like I'm your husband, you can't do that, blah 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 blah. This is a different time. And he understood that. So that was cool to see her transformation to like just adjusting to the society, or just adjusting and not getting herself in trouble, not getting him in any more trouble than he already was in. But then toward the last 3 episodes, I think, of this season is when we started to catch back up to the present day stuff. From the last 2 episodes, more of the present day stuff, and we learned that in fact she did actually, so I thought it was like some dream or something that she had, but it turns out she actually did return back through the stones. And then we found out that Jamie didn't die. Obviously he did die because of, you know, thing, but we found out that he didn't die at the Battle of Culloden, so and that he escaped. So the last thing we saw is Claire saying that she has to go back. So that's going to be interesting to see how we go. I started watching the first episode of season 3, and I started seeing some of the fights between Blackjack Randall and Jamie, but I kind of wanted to see more of that fight because I just wanted to just absorb the fact that Randall was going to die. Like I just wanted to absorb it, because he was such a pesky villain to the point that he just, like, everything about him, I hated it. I hated that character. I hated him so much. Everything he did to Jamie, like, it pissed me off. I didn't like him at all. But overall, guys, I thought I'm not going into this, I'm just like jumping all over the place. I'm sure I'm missing out some certain things, but overall I thought the season was pretty good. I thought it was pretty straightforward. I'm excited for season 3 now because the Battle of Culloden already happened. Everything from the ending of from the other half of season 1 to pretty much all of season 2 was them trying to stop the Battle of Culloden from happening. Now the battle has already happened. Charles Stuart is already dead. All the situations already happened already. So it's not going forward with this now. We don't know. We only know up until Claire's knowledge at this point. We already know from her perspective that the Battle of Culloden pretty much just like ended everything from what she knew. But we never saw anything past that. So this is why I'm excited for season 3, because I feel like it's going to take on a different it's definitely going to take on a different approach with certain things. We got the introduction of Claire and Jamie's daughter, so that was really cool to see as well. So I'm looking forward to see her a lot more. We saw Gaelis Duncan actually leaving, killing her husband, and doing that just to go through the stones. So that was very dramatic, but very emotional season. I teared up at some points. I ain't gonna lie, I teared up at some points throughout the season. There's just a lot of moments that really had me messed up, but overall I think it was pretty decent. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more than season 1. And some of the stuff in France started to annoy me after a while. So I was like, when they went back to Scotland, I'm like, okay, good. Like, now we're back in Scotland. I'm kind of glad to see them back in Scotland. I don't want to see all this French stuff. All the French stuff was starting to annoy me and everything. Them calling all the whole white lady stuff with the white witch stuff. That was definitely like interesting and cool to see. You know, the king and all that, the stuff that they would do for each other. Yo, I don't even know I could do it. Like, Jamie would sacrifice his body to save Claire, and Claire sacrificed her body to save Jamie. Like, these people, it's some true love right there. But that's it for me. That's just my basic thoughts and like recap of season 2. I know it was not super detailed and I didn't really go into certain things, but I just wanted to give my overall thoughts on season 2 because I just finished it last night. So if you guys want me to do reactions to season 3 on Patreon, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Clockmaster out.